We go. Let's get it. This is Life's Essential Ingredients with Jeff and a Mike, where we hope to inform, inspire, and transform lives, one essential ingredient at a time. Welcome to the show. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Life's Essential Ingredients. Again, every day I try and appreciate each new day, but every time I get to wake up and see my Pasho, for us just to get to spend an hour or two kind of hanging out is a highlight of my day. Pasho, good morning to you, baby.
Good morning, Pasho, and I couldn't think of a better way to start off a Friday. You know, I love my Fridays, and this just makes it even sweeter. Thank you.
Yes, it is early. We had to schedule this at the right time because Pasho is a serious card player. He's got a big card game. I know this show dropped on Tuesdays, but he's got a big card game coming up at 12. So he's like, hey, we got to get this in so I can get to my cards and win my money. But let's get serious right now because we have an amazing guest coming in from Houston. One of my good friends from my days in Los Rios. It's Alami Basheer, and she... it's just great. And I'm just going to say that right now, right out of the gate, but just want you two to say good morning to each other and good morning, Alami.
Great morning, guys. Great morning.
Good morning. Nice to meet you. Thanks for coming on the show.
My pleasure.
Yes, a quick introduction for our guest. Again, Alami Basheer, mindset coach, life and leadership coach, speaker, game changer. She helps her clients gain clarity, courage, confidence, consistency to reach new levels of success. Offers one-on-one coaching, small group, large group training, and specialty retreats. She is a host of her Be Great Everyday podcast, is the founder and CEO of the Encouragement Company. She received her bachelor's in sociology from UCI, that's University of California at Irvine, master's from Cal State Dominguez Hills, got her MFT, that's marriage, family, and therapy. Those of you that don't know what that is, she can get down because in order to get that master's, I'm pretty sure you need 3,000 hours of very detailed counseling. If it's not 3,000, I know it's right there, but that is a lot of time to gain that expertise, which is why she is great every day. She's also participated in doctorate level studies at USC, specializing in leadership, motivation, and learning. A little side note, you cannot tell because we're all sitting down, but Alami can take Mike and I to school still. She is a hooper and can get down. Big West Conference MVP, led Irvine to her first ever tourney appearance, was a Kodak All-American, honorable mention, and Hall of Fame inductee. And she didn't even start hooping until she was 15. Did I say she can get down? She's a mother of two beautiful twins and is joining us from Houston. Alami, welcome to the show.
Yikes. My goodness. Thank you so much, Jeff. It's always so weird to hear your bio. You know, I know that's me you're talking about, but it's I've just been kind of just waking up every day and just doing stuff. And then I turn around and look back over some time and it's oh my gosh, I've got accomplishments. I do want to make sure, I want to clarify a couple of things though, real quick. So I do have a master's in marriage and family therapy. I did not go for licensure though. So I did not complete the 3,000 hours, but I did do, I think it was something in the area of 500 plus for the master's degree. And then of course, my field of occupation has been rooted in counseling. And so I still did the 3,000 hours, just unsupervised, and I never sat for the test. How about that? But yeah, I've done all those things. It's wild.
Yes. And that's a great little segue to our thought of the day. We normally start out pretty early in the show. And this is an interesting one. And I was looking, it always takes me a long time. This is probably where I spend most of the time prepping, is trying to find this. And it's from this young lady, Mohadisa Najam. And I don't know if I'm pronouncing her name right, but she's a British writer. This one spoke to me for you. The woman who does not require validation from anyone is the most feared individual on the planet.
Oh my goodness, Jeff.
I'm gonna say it again. I want you to just wrap your, and this is like the highest compliment that I can give you. And I'm getting goosebumps just sitting here thinking
Me
about
too.
you, knowing your journey, knowing that we crossed paths in your role as a counselor at Consumness, which is part of Los Rios Community College, and was doing great work, and probably had a pretty cush job making six figures. And I'm not going to get into what you're doing now, but I know you're living your passion. I know you're doing what you should be doing. And this is what's going to be fun on this show. But that's why this one, I just saw this and I was like, that's all of me. That's all of me. Again, the woman who does not require validation from anyone is the most feared individual on the planet. And that's deep, and I'm going to be quiet.
Oh my God. I am like speechless. I'm not even kidding you. I need you to send me that, like, email, text me that ASAP after we get off of this call, because that resonates like on a cellular level for me. And I'm truly humbled that that resonated for you, for me, right? I mean, it's one thing for me to see myself, but when other people see me, that's a great feeling. And even that's kind of tongue in cheek, because I don't need that, which is really the essence of the statement, right? It's like, I don't need that, but it's still nice, you know?
Oh, for sure. And that's why it's so deep. And we can spend probably the whole show breaking that down. And that's what's so cool about, again, in researching you and when our paths crossed, and then having that speak to me and knowing that you don't need that, but that it still feels good. And that's what we're all doing here. But when you can achieve that, of where you're like, hey, I don't need that pat on the back, or that attaboy, or that a girl, or whatever it is, because you know you're doing what you should be doing. And then it allows you. And that's why I love that word feared is an interesting word to me too, because you have nothing to hold back. You get to be great every day. And when you can be in that space,
You're fired.
And that's what you're doing. Yeah, that's what you're doing. So yeah, I'm excited. And again, thank you so much for coming on the show. But I want to break down. Yeah, the older I get, the more I realize that I don't know a whole bunch, but the little bit that I do know, I want to understand better. And there's just so many words that we use always, and we don't spend time to break them down. So you're going to think I'm a little bit crazy, which is nothing, new for me. But I want to spend the next few minutes. I want to break down be. I want to break down great, and I want to break down every day. So what? Yeah, walk me through, because you could, just like that quote, I could have came up with millions of quotes for you, and that's one that spoke to me. What does be great every day mean to you? And I'm gonna give you another second. Listeners, you can find Alami at begreateveryday.com. You can already tell she can get down. If you are looking for any coaching, reach out to her. Again, begreateveryday.com. Alami, I'm gonna be quiet.
Well, I'll tell you a quick story as to where that phrase came from. It was actually when I was still in college. Again, I went to UC Irvine in the mid-90s. And if you know anything about the Orange County area, there's a toll road called the 73. Takes you from I-5 to the 405 on a shortcut, right? So I was on the toll road, and I pull up to the toll booth to pay my fare. And there was an older African-American gentleman that was receiving the fare. And so I go to give him the money. He gives me my receipt. And when he gave me my receipt, he said, okay, now have a great day, no matter what. And that small little farewell, like I took the receipt, have a great day, no matter what. And I remember pulling off from the window, and I was just like awestruck. It like hit me like a ton of bricks. It was like the first conscious moment that I ever had that told me that regardless of what happens in the day, I get to choose how I respond and how I feel. all of that was embedded in that little nugget, that little salutation, that little farewell. All right, now have a great day, no matter what. It was the no matter what that literally changed my life in an instant. Like, I can be great every day, no matter what, because I get to choose, regardless of whatever the what, quote unquote, is. Whatever the person, the situation, the circumstance, whatever the dynamic, I have the power to choose how I respond to it. And that's where Be Great Every Day was born. Literally changed my life.
That's crazy. And I love it's, I don't mean to sound too crazy, and you might have spoke to it, but I don't think so. So I think change, and you're the expert at this, but you have to be in a certain space. That gentleman might have told you that. Who knows how many times you went across that toll?
Right.
That time, there was some space in your brain where maybe he told you that 100 times, but this
Right.
time it spoke to you and it changed your life. Can you speak to that at all? Or
I can't, Jeff. I wish I wish I knew why that resonated so loudly. Like, what was the real catalyst? I can't remember like anything in particular going on in my life where I was like looking for a word, but literally I heard it. My ears were open to receive it that day. And I don't even question it anymore. I don't question the why. And because now, the fast forward 30 years later, I now am getting a better, or 20 plus years later, I now am understanding why that nugget was placed in my spirit that day. Like, it's been literally 20 years of unfolding. And when I tell you unfolding, like, even though it hit me that day, I still didn't really know what that meant until maybe 2017. Okay. In 2017, and I don't know that you know this part of my story, and this is a huge part of my story, and why I am the way I am, and why I'm doing what I'm doing present day. That nugget for Be Great Every Day was deposited in like 1996 or 7. But I didn't really come to understand it literally until 20 years later. In January of 2017, I met my boyfriend. And you were talking about my height. I'm 6'1". Well, his height's 7 feet. Okay. 7 feet. We met online in like a tall person group and literally fell in love within a week's time. We literally met on a Monday. By Wednesday, I was telling my sister, like, I met this guy and I only met him 3 days ago and I can't imagine my life without him. And then by Friday, we were exchanging I love yous, and I am not that girl. I'm not her on any level. But that goes to show like the kind of divine connection that we felt. Like, I've been in love before, I've been married before, but this was different. This was a soul level, spiritual twin flame reunion. And so we met in January. We continued to date for several months. We were long distance. I lived in Sacramento and he lived in Maryland. And so we were long distance, and therefore we were video chatting. Like, out of 24 hours in the day, we were video chatting 12, 14 hours a day, every day. So even though there was geographical distance, we were still very much a part of each other's lives. And like, side note, I was working at CRC and I was video chatting with him while I was working. He was working at his job. He worked in social services. We were in constant contact. We could not get enough of each other. So we were long distance. We actually only spent 11 physical days together. We were on the phone constantly, but due to geography, we had only spent 11 physical days together. Fast forward to May of 2017, I got a phone call from his sister that gave me unfortunate news that he had passed away.
oh, God.
And all of a sudden, my entire life went into, I can't, there's no words still. I mean, I'm 4 years later and I still don't really have the language to articulate the depth of that feeling. But as you might imagine, catastrophic. We experienced, now I'm just kind of giving you like some sound bites, the kind of love relationship we experienced. Like we had moments where, there was a moment where I was at his house and we were getting ready to go to dinner. We were rushing around because we had a reservation. We didn't want to be late. So he was running around, I'm running around, and literally we passed each other like two ships in the night, like down the hallway. And he reaches back and grabs my arm and he says, do you know that people wait their whole lives to experience this? Like we were so attuned, not just in love, but attuned and hyper aware of how rare and special it was. Okay. So fast forward to May 12th, 2017, I get the phone call from his sister saying he had passed away. And I knew something was wrong because, again, we were video chatting around the clock. So I woke up that morning to call him, no answer. I wait an hour, no answer. Then I get a Facebook message from his sister, or a Facebook friend request. And as soon as I saw it, I responded, and I literally just held the phone and I waited for a message to come through because I knew it, and I felt it, that she was going to communicate with me immediately about him. And so, of course, she told me the bad news. And in the moment that she was telling me, I was literally holding the phone with one hand, and then in the other ear was this voice saying, I'm of more value to you now than I could have been before. I wish I was making this stuff up, you guys, my real life. And so even in the moment, I just thought I was I thought I was just grief stricken and just losing my mind, right? It's just so much happening at what time. I couldn't even process it. But I know now in full retrospect that was absolutely his voice letting me, trying to comfort me. And there's so many layers and dynamics to this story. I ended up, after his loss, of course, I was supposed to go back to work, right? You get 3 days of grief, of bereavement, which is not enough for anybody on the planet to grieve anything. And so I went back to work for like a couple of days and I'm like, I can't do this. So I ended up taking a medical leave for the rest of the year. And I went to Costa Rica. I set my kids up with my best friend and my dog with another friend. And I just had to check out because the bottom had fallen out and I didn't know where the ground was. And so I went to Costa Rica for about 17 days and literally spent every day just watching the ocean like TV. I mean, like 4 and 5 hours a day, just catatonic, watching the ocean like TV. And it was literally then that I started to process what had just happened. And it wasn't like processing just the loss, it was processing the love. And I'll never forget when I had come back and I started going to grief counseling, and I go into the therapist and pour my heart out to her for the first 10 minutes, telling her what just happened to me. And her first response was, oh my gosh, I bet you can't believe that you met him, much less that you lost him. And I said, bingo, that's exactly right. Like my brain hadn't even fully accepted the fact that this man had come into my life and made such an impact and loved me at the level that I ever wanted to be loved. And then he was gone. So as we're talking about be great every day, okay, I remember while he was living, I remember writing in a journal about be great every day. This gives me the chills. There's so many layers to the story. I remember writing in a journal about be great every day because I was still trying to make sense of this phrase. I knew it resonated with me. I knew it had power, but I didn't know the depth. I didn't have a context beyond the initial story that prompted its birth. I didn't know what it was still. So I was journaling about it. And I remember literally writing, who am I to tell people to have a great day every day, no matter what? Like, how am I literally wrote this to you guys. How am I to tell a grieving mother who has lost a child that she can be great every day? And I was writing a full journal entry And as soon as I wrote that, I stopped. I literally stopped at that question mark, put the book away, and never picked it up again until after my love, his name was Lyle, until after Lyle passed away. And then I picked that back up again. And then it resonated with me on a different level because I have had a tremendous traumatic loss. And I took the time that I needed to grieve. Grieving is an ever evolving process. But I was actively giving myself space to grieve it, and also discovering what that really meant to be great, no matter what. It didn't mean that life needed to be perfect and rosy every day. It didn't mean that it needed to be error-free or painless even, but that I could still show up in the moments of my life and give it my all. And so Be Great Every Day began to take shape because I was actually living it. It wasn't just something that sounded good and cheeky. I was actually living it. I was showing up each day, even in my grief and even in the uncertainty of my greater world, because I had taken medical leave from work. By the way, my plan was to leave that job. My plan at the top of the year when I met him was to go on sabbatical and not come back. Well, I ended up going on sabbatical through my grief recovery. And literally the day I was supposed to go back, I called my boss and I was like, I can't do it. I had no job lined up. I had no business lined up. I didn't have anything in place to kind of rescue my life, but I knew I couldn't continue to work in a space where I knew I was not needed anymore there. I knew I was being called to something more, something greater. And that's how I started my coaching firm. Actually, I birthed my coaching firm before I quit, but that's when I went full time. So Be Great Every Day has been an ever evolving process. And even as I share with you the part about me writing, how can I tell a grieving mother that she can wake up and have a great day no matter what? Well, wouldn't you know, the divine gave me that opportunity just this year. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Clubhouse. It's a new platform, social media platform. Okay. And so on that platform, I sit in on a lot of rooms where it talks about public speaking, wanting to hone my skills and that kind of thing. And I ran into a room where the moderator, her platform is she teaches people how to tell their trauma stories. Okay. So she's a speaker's coach. Well, lo and behold, she and I hit it off. We now have this accountability partnership, and she is helping me craft my signature speech around Be Great Every Day. And she is a mother who just a year and a half ago lost her child. I can't make this stuff up. She just lost her child, and she and I have this beautiful collaborative, cooperative, co-working relationship that is so powerful. She is literally helping me write the story of Be Great Every Day, not because she's just supporting me, but because she believes it's possible too. And so I'm able to talk to her in real life, in real time, about how I'm able to answer my own question from 2017. How can I tell a grieving mother how to have a great day every day when she's lost her child? Well, God gave me the opportunity to do that this year, you guys. So when I tell you Be Great Every Day, that day that the seed was planted, I know now why. That day, I don't know why I heard it, why I was able to hear it, and why it resonated so profoundly. But I bet you today I know, because I get to live it, I get to share it, and I get to be an example for other people to see that no matter what your what is, you can show up every day and be great. I feel like I've been talking a lot. I'll let you ask a question, and then I'll tell you more about the construct of great and how I define what great is.
Yeah. Well, one, I'm speechless, and I am rarely at a loss for words. And I want to give you a hug, and I wish we were, closer, but at the same time, you're sitting where you need to be sitting, and you're doing what you should be doing, and your story of love, it's just an incredible story of somebody knew that you only had so much time. And it's crazy when I'm getting goosebumps just saying that, or when you're telling me you're at work, and thanks Los Rios, and, and you're spending 12 hours talking to Lyle.
Yeah.
And somebody knew you can't get that time back. And so you guys were just such in the moment of having a lifetime of love in such a short amount of time, and connecting on such a deeper level that doesn't do any good to compare, but probably that a lot of people who might be married for 50 years never get to experience that kind of love. And so, I'm not going to lie, I'm still speechless, because I was so happy for you when you started out with that story, and then Lyle dies, and then my heart just stops, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And then you fast forward and you tie it into your story, and then you talk about your friend who lost their child. And then I just say, God is good, and God gives us what he needs to give us in order to help us tell our story, to be able to help other people get in that same space. And then to hear that you've found a partner to help you own your story, and then just the work that you're going to be able to do moving forward is just incredible to me. Because you are going to connect on such a deeper level to anybody that crosses your path like never before. And for that, I am so happy for you. Woo.
I know.
I'm gonna Pasha, you guys look like you want to say something.
I'm similar. I'm absolutely speechless too, and I didn't see the story going that way. Especially when you start off, there's a website for tall people. That was, and you guys found each other. That's crazy. Who knew? Who knew that existed? But yeah, it's a tragic story, but there's light at the end of it, and now you can coach people better. You're going through it, and someone going through it can help you, and I think that's the beautiful part of the story. It ends up being a beautiful story. So thank you for sharing that. Wow.
Yeah, thank you. And I'm able to tell the stories now. I mean, I'm just giving you guys the surface. There's so much underneath that you just would never believe. It's unbelievable. And I'm literally at the epicenter of it. And it's like, I tell my kids and close friends all the time, like, if you guys didn't know, if you guys never met him, I would think that I had just gone crazy. I would think that it never happened. I could easily think that it never happened if no one else had met him but me, but the beautiful part is that there were people on the sidelines that were able to witness it from afar. We actually met inside of a Facebook group. So there's a whole community of people who watched and witnessed the story. But yeah, it's pretty dynamic, to say the least. And I'm so grateful for it. That whole adage of, is it better to have loved and lost than to never have loved at all? Like, I literally pondered that for the year. Every day that I woke up crying, I cried every day for a year, every day like clockwork for a year, every single day. And I battled with that question. And my answer is always, it's better to have loved and lost, always, because I have the memories. I felt it and I touched it. And it wasn't just a fictional tale I read in a book or a movie I saw in a movie. Like, I know that level is real. I got to touch it. So I'm super grateful. Very, 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 very grateful. There's so many lessons, so many lessons that I've learned. about so many things. There's, of course, love and what that looks like. And, there's kind of this underpinning of spiritual divinity in it. And above all, I learned so much about me. Like, I don't have words to describe. And this is not like, oh, Alami thinks she's better than everybody, but I have learned what I'm made of through this experience. And I'm made of some good stuff. I'm made of some real good stuff, some real powerful stuff. And even in my vulnerability, I was able to tap into greater levels of strength that I never knew existed. I know, I have always known that I'm a strong personality type. I've always been, at least in my adult years, I've always been pretty confident and pretty self-assured. But you don't really know who you are until you've gone through adversity. People tell you that, and it sounds like it makes sense, but yeah, I'm really proud of my resilience. I'm really grateful for all of the spiritual lessons and levels that I've been able to unlock through this journey and continuing to unlock. As I had mentioned before, even meeting him in January of 2017, I had a life plan that included, working my counseling job through the summer and then going on sabbatical and then transitioning into something else, because I've always known that there was a calling on my life. Even working in the office with students, and in my opinion, I've always done really great, powerful work with students, but I've always felt that there was something more. I've always seen myself on a stage, and not that I wanted to be a speaker on stages, that wasn't even like my thing, but the visual that I got was like, I'm supposed to be reaching more people. I'm supposed to be having a farther reach to people that I don't know, that are not in my circumference right now. So it was that call that was making me put a plan into action to transition out of my career. I just could never, ever in my wildest dreams written my story the way it has unfolded. I never, nobody's this good of a writer, like nobody, but as the divine would have it, this is where I'm at, and this is my life's work, and I'm walking absolutely more and more every day in my purpose. And it feels so good and so exciting, and it's invigorating, and it's a lot of work, but it doesn't feel like work. It just feels like service for which I'm grateful to be a part of. Yeah.
Amen. Man, I'm
sorry, guys. I should have prepped you guys for this interview.
I was teaching, I'm not going to get into myself, but I was teaching nursing at Sac City. And a lot of times with my students, I would get goosebumps, at least once a lecture. And I've already got 4 of them from this. And yeah, nothing against this, which is so nice about this show, to get to experience your body going through that and feeling those emotions and then resulting in that effect is incredible. Yeah, incredible. But I want to get going, because there's so much other stuff that we need to make sure we tap in your greatness. And so, real short story. I'll plant the seed for you, but we're going to talk about greatness real quick. And Mike and I also played basketball. We played at the University of San Francisco, and we were playing our end of the season tournament down in LA. And we're leaving the hotel. I shouldn't say it, but we'll add a little humor real quick. I think we were rocking the old school MC Hammer pants.
Oh no!
Picture. Yeah, oh no, exactly. How we thought we could rock those. I wish we had pictures. I wish cell phones were a thing back then, because we got like no dirt on us. We just have some memories now. But so just picture 4 guys walking out with those just, yeah. And so that's
Yeah.
the intent of the story, but I just wanted to give you that visual and for the listeners
Love.
to kind of laugh of like, whoa, that must have been some sight. But we're getting ready to walk out, and in comes Muhammad Ali. And you can see behind me that picture back there. It is Muhammad in my little space here. And my mouth just hits the ground. I was like, holy smokes, that's Muhammad Ali. And his Parkinson's, unfortunately, is kicking in. And he has his friend that's with him. And we go up to him. We're like, wait a second, we got to say hello. This is the greatest of all time.
Right.
And he puts up his dukes a little bit, and he gives me a little bit of a jab. I wish he would have knocked me out. It would have been such a great story.
Right. So then you could say,
Oh man, that I got knocked out by Muhammad. And so we ask, his friend, what made Muhammad the greatest? And he said he didn't know pain. And and I know what that means, but I don't know what that means. And I said, can you help me out and explain that a little bit more? And he says, well, most people, and we'll talk about athletes, they train and they do a certain kind of rep. They're going to 1 and 2 and 3 and get to 20. Okay, good. I'm done. Muhammad didn't start counting until it hurt. So he would push himself so much, so hard when it was like where he couldn't do any more. That's when he started counting and get his reps in. And so to me, the greatest of all time, it's just and I know you're the mindset coach, and that's probably a great story for you to take and share even with the people that you work with. And then maybe I'll send you a shirt. I made some shirts for my C4 stuff, Until It Hurts. So I can hook you up with one of those, and it'll be a color that will look amazing on you. But let's have you talk about greatness and what is that? And how do you help your clients achieve that? Let's go there.
Yeah, sure. So I want to just talk about, in truth, about the statement. So be great every day. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's inspirational, it's motivational. It's like, yeah, be great every day. But then there's also this part of some of us that I know when we hear that, it's like, nobody can be great every day. There's an inherent suspicion and apprehension and denial of its real possibility, right? And I challenge that because as I mentioned before, it's not about having a perfect day. It's not about having an error-free or painless day. It's not about everything feeling good all the time. And that's what I discovered, that's the way in which most of us define greatness. It's based on feeling good or doing good. Feeling good or doing good. We define greatness in terms of external events, situations, or circumstances, then triggering something internal, an internal feeling, right? Mm-hmm. When we talk about the great ones, they're great because of something they have done. And when I talk about being great, being a state of presence, a state of mind, right? That's a whole different experience. So if I can share with you a little bit about how I define great in its, I already talked about it in its traditional context. For me, great, the G stands for being goal focused, and not in a traditional way of being externally goal focused, but internally goal focused. How do you want to feel today? Again, that choice, be great, no matter what. That's an internal experience that is immune from any external variable. So being goal focused is about, how do you want to feel? How do you want to be? How do you want to define yourself? What is the standard? What is the bar? What's the objective? What is the mile marker, the standard, internal standard for yourself, regardless of what happens outside? So being internally goal focused, deciding for yourself to have a great day no matter what happens, right? The R is it speaks to responsiveness. Now, responsiveness is often a term we hear in like customer service circles. I didn't like this company because their responsiveness was just not on point. They didn't tend to my needs. So when I talk about responsiveness, it's about tending to your needs. Okay. Attending to your needs and responding quickly with positivity. That's another layer of responsiveness. So it's not just identifying what you need, but it's a responding to them promptly and positively. Okay. So that's what we're talking about, like that internal mindset of just being positive, that positive psychology mindset. Responsiveness is about doing an internal check-in. What is it that I need to feel okay? What is that I need? What am I needing in general? Right? Internally, not what is it I need to do out here to meet it, but what, just doing that internal mindful self-awareness check-in. What is it that I really need right now? You know, and then responding quickly and positively to address it. The E speaks to being evolutionary. So evolutionary, being willing to change, being willing to be flexible, being willing to acknowledge a situation or circumstance that maybe is not your ideal, but willing to adapt and adjust on the fly, pivot, as you will, on the fly. Not being so rigid and stuck in your own habits, practices, beliefs, behaviors, you know, that keep you anchored in a bad feeling. So being willing to be like water and flow, being evolutionary. The A speaks to being authentic. So for me, being great every day is me showing up as my authentic self in every space I occupy. And that kind of references back to your quote earlier. It's for me, being me and doing me on a high level every day. Can I do that? Yes, I can. We all can. We can all be goal focused. We can all be responsive to our own needs. We can all have a mindset that is evolutionary. We can all have a mindset that says, I'm going to be me no matter what. The T stands for truthful. So, excuse me, for being trust. I'm sorry. The T stands for trust. Trust. To me, I can interchange trust and faith. Some people don't like the word faith, so I say trust. Trust your instincts. Trust that whatever your personal truth is, that it is truth. Even if you're just operating from a soul level, not a spiritual level, trust your own instincts. So as I talk about being great every day, for me, it's not trying to live up to somebody else's standard. It's me always being willing to trust my own instincts about a thing. It's always being willing to stand in my personal truth about a thing. And for me, again, some people don't like the word faith, so I trust in my higher power that regardless of what I come up against, I will have the resilience and the wherewithal to deal with it. And if that translates as you were sharing the story about Muhammad Ali and not feeling pain, then that's where for me it comes from. Is that I trust that not everything happens for a reason, not just for a reason, but a good reason. Like I trust that. I put all my money on that every time. So that when I bump up against adverse situations, it allows me to be flexible. You know, it allows me to still be responsive to my own needs. Like maybe things aren't going the way I thought they should go, but it's okay. I trust there's a higher order process happening. So let me just attend to the discomfort that I feel right now. You understand? So that's what being great means to me. I define it in all different kinds of ways. But those are the 5 variables that help me the most. Being goal-focused, internally goal-focused. Not just pursuing the outer things, those things we achieve when we feel good for a moment, then we're on to something else. But if my internal baseline becomes my top priority every day, and again, I'm being responsive to my own needs, and I'm being willing to be flexible to whatever the conditions are that are before me, and I'm allowing myself to be in my own personal truth and be my authentic self in every single situation and operating from that place of higher truth, I can't not be great every day. I literally cannot not. I can't not. Double negatives. I can't not. So that's what it means to me. That's what it means to me to be great every day. And every day I can do those 5 things. I can do those 5 things every day.
Mm-hmm. That is incredible. I love it. It's deep, it's simple, it's actionable. And again, if there's any listeners, and we're fortunate, we got listeners all over the world, which is crazy to me.
Right.
Yeah, begreateveryday.com. You want a coach who can coach you through life? begreateveryday.com. I took so much notes, and don't get it twisted like I'm on my phone or something when my head is down.
No, you're good.
I don't mess. I'm not a big cell phone guy, and my family already know. Hey, Dad's he's not going to answer his phone because he's not on it. I got 4 pages of notes, and I love that. I want to, Pasha, did you have a comment? You're not giving me, we got this like cue normally. I think Pasha's still just like in awe right now. You dropping some like serious knowledge and tips. And this is all the stuff in my wheelhouse. You know, I had the good fortune, you probably don't even remember, of coming to CRC and doing a training that with some of your staff. And I
do remember.
I love what you're doing, because the world gets so busy and there's so many things, and people are grabbing from all these different parts, and then it's not actionable. And what you just described, if you just follow that game plan, that's a game changer right there. Yeah. It will help your clients, will help anybody listening be great today. And so, Pachito, do you have anything that you want to jump in on?
You're like the best guest ever. I could just sit here and listen. Usually I'm trying to think of a question, but you're covering everything so well. I'm just like, this is awesome. I could just sit here and unlike my Pasha, I have 4 kids, and a long time ago, I realized, we used to have the old camcorders, and I used to always be the one have to record things. And I realized I was looking through everything through that camera. It's like I wasn't ever there. So I kind of stopped doing that and pushed it off to whoever else wants to do it. I want to be present. And I'm kind of doing that right now. I'm not taking any notes. I'm just soaking it all up. And I realize that's something I could do. And if I could do it, wow, anyone can do it. But I appreciate you giving us that knowledge. Thank you.
All right. I'm going to jump right on before I let our guest, because I want to ask her another question. And Pasha, great segue there for being present. And I catch myself in this space sometimes, and there's a lot of evidence for creating habits. And this is where I'm trying to evolve in my growth. And I think it's a tricky thing of habits are good when they're good, but sometimes you can create a habit and then you lose the intent. And I'm trying to take having good habits, but not doing them out of habit, if this even makes sense, but doing them with intent of why you're doing them. And I sometimes catch myself of, wait a second, I'm just doing, I'm a big journal guy. I start every day, I read the Bible and I journal. And if I'm not careful, I'm going to just go through those motions. I have my habit. Hey, I'm checking that box. Yeah, I'm journaling.
Yeah.
And then I catch myself. And if I'm not careful, I did it, but I'm not changing. I'm not better for doing it. And so I don't know if that even, I'm not necessarily asking a question, but living living with intent in a world full of habits. What are your thoughts on that comment?
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up, Jeff, because I'm often telling this to clients. People come to me for coaching because they are wanting to develop different habits, right? So, and that's great, because that's part of the puzzle, but that's only part of it, because the other part is, it's one level is, yes, I need to learn new skills and how to shift my mindset. There's this gain that there has to be, but there also has to be a relinquishing of the old habits. Okay. So it's twofold. It's not just, choosing the better habits. It's also being willing. And there's work involved here. It's being willing to let go of the old habits, if that makes sense. So it's not just about wanting to start journaling. Okay. I'm not sure the reason for the journaling, but there might be some work that's needed around that. So very often I use journaling with all of my clients. And here's a tip for you if you don't use it already, is when you start your journal entries, write, Dear Jeff. Don't start it with good morning, or don't just start in on the thought. It's Dear Jeff, or depending on your spiritual relationship, Dear God. Those are the only two options I use. It immediately aligns the conversation. Immediately.
I like it. Yeah, Miguel, I'll just tell you, you can coach me up here real quick. So journaling, it's a little different. I'm a goofy guy. So my journaling, I list 4 things that I'm grateful for. So it's not like a dear journal. It's more of kind of like you're great. I have
affirmations.
Yeah, so I have 4 things that I'm grateful for. Then I go down to, I want to reflect on one thing that touched me from the day before, because I don't want to just be living where I'm just moving on to the next thing. I want to think back, hey, what stood out that really resonated with me, and just put my thoughts down for that. Then I get into exercise, because I do this early in the morning. Hey, what am I doing today to take care of my health? And so exercise, and I just put that down. Then nutrition, what am I eating today? To make sure that I'm planning. And a lot of this stuff happens like the night before for me, of planning out my day. Then mindfulness, what am I doing to achieve that? And I use this simple technique, PBS. One of my great mentors taught me pause, breathe, and smile. And so I make sure that I'm doing that each day. And that's just a little reminder. And then I put prayer, who needs some guidance from above. Then I put forgiveness. Is there something that I've been carrying that I need to let go? So in your words, so I can be great every day. Because if I'm carrying something, that's going to take some of my energy and not allow me to do and to be great every day. And so is there something that I need to put down there? Do I need to make a phone call? Do I need to go to church? What do I need to do to speak to that forgiveness piece? And then a goofy one for me is sleep. I have some challenges sleeping, and am I put myself to have some good sleep hygiene? And then the last one is that I took from Benjamin Hardy, is my future self. What am I doing today to plan for a better Jeff Christian in the future? And so that's kind of my journaling. So do I need professional help? Am I like crazy off and losing my mind? Or walk me through. And Pasho, I'm talking to our guest, not to you. I already know what you're going to say.
I just wanted to know that yes, you are crazy. I can answer that. So she can take it from there.
All right, I'll pick it up from there. So I'll tell you, Jeff, some of my first questions would be, why do you want to do all of that in your journaling? Why is it important for you to engage all of the, and this is not a value assessment. This is an objective question. What is your why behind wanting to engage that activity?
To be honest, I have a lot of health challenges. And so for me to be great every day, I need to start off great. And if I can set my mind right around being grateful for just being able to get up, there's no guarantee that any of us is going to rise tomorrow. And so when I get up, hey, I'm happy. I don't share it a whole bunch, but I have a huge aneurysm on my aortic root. And so I can't get my heart, too fast. And I got all kind of other health challenges. So for me, the gratefulness is, hey, I got another day to try and do God's work, and let me be thankful for that. The other part of my journaling is, all right, well, I'm up, let's get after it, and let's make this a great day. So those are components for me that I need to make sure that I can achieve so I can be my best for that day. And maybe my best is only 60% for that day, but that's my best for that day. And I'm realizing, and this is space where I'm at right now, because my energy isn't the same that it has been. And I'm struggling, I'm not going to lie, with trying to find this balance for myself and giving myself some grace, being able to do so many things without even thinking about it. And now they all come at a pretty good price for me. And so that's my game plan for trying to get the best out of myself for this day.
Yeah, so I'm glad you went a couple places that I was thinking. So the first was around grace. So maybe you only get 60% of the way done. Maybe you don't write in the journal every day of the week. Maybe it's only 3 days of the week or 4 days of the week. Are you beating yourself up around the other days that you're not journaling? And I hear yes, because that's why we're even having this conversation, right? So instead of beating yourself up about the days that you haven't, celebrate the days that you have and give yourself some grace. You know, the other option is maybe there are too many steps in the journal process. Maybe on certain days you only focus on one aspect as opposed to wanting to check all the boxes. Again, giving yourself some grace. So I hear the intention behind it is supposed to be a value add to your health, but you have to be careful because it also becomes a double-edged sword. So now it becomes another thing, right? And that's what I also hear is that it's becoming another thing. And then I'm not getting the thing done. And now I'm beating myself up about not getting the thing done. So there's a couple ways in which you might want to navigate it differently, you know, which is to maybe scale back. Maybe it's not every day. Maybe it's you shoot for a quota of 4 days a week. And that gives yourself some wiggle room to not get it done. Maybe on certain days, it's only one prompt that you really give your undivided attention to. Because I think sometimes we can overwhelm ourselves with goodness, right? It's like we've stacked on so many things that now it feels heavy. So getting back to the essence of it is to do just the opposite, which is to make you feel lighter, to just focus on one piece. And you can even break it up to each week, you only focus on one particular piece. You know, instead of trying to get them all at one time, to really laser focus your attention and then be more present with that piece. Yeah. Does that resonate?
It does. And how much are you going to charge me for this?
Oh, my friend, stop it.
Wow, you're good. That was good. I'm all about lightening that load. Thank you. I feel better about myself now.
Yeah.
It's,
you know, when we find ourselves, you know, especially achievers, which particularly people I know, most of my friends are achievers, you know, on some level. We're go-getters, you know, especially because I know a lot of people that are athletes. We're competitors. We get after stuff. It's literally a life value that we carry that transcends sports, and it shows up in other aspects of our life. So it's like we've learned how to compete against things, against ourselves, against other people. Like we compete. We want to get it done. We want to win. We want to win, right? We want to be excellent. We're pre-programmed with this stuff. So it's like, yeah, that's a value add to have that kind of drive. But we also have to take ownership over our own compassion, you know, like learning how to be compassionate with ourselves. It's like finding that healthy balance between push, 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 and like chill, relax. It's okay. You know, and each situation is going to require different aspects of us to show up, but we have to be intentional about extending ourselves grace when we are winners, because anything less than our level, our standard feels like a loss, or it feels like an insecurity. You know, it feels like something's deficient. And that is what we have to reprogram and recalibrate for ourselves sometimes. So just noticing, just being aware of it is the first step, right?
Definitely. And yeah, if we had another 10 hours, yeah, we definitely go deeper, because everything that you're saying, and I try not to do this, and I did this one other time, but is really resonating with me because I'm in that space right now with my health. And I'm actually on medical leave from Los Rios and in the process of trying to figure out what is next. For me, and trying to live with more intent and trying to do God's work and trying to figure out, well, what does that look like when you're driven, when you've been able to do 3, 4, 5 jobs all at the same time, and you really can't even do one. And I'm sitting here doing this podcast and making some pizza every now and then, trying to figure out not is that enough, but am I using my gift to, just like you, I feel like I have a calling to help people, and am I doing it in the right way? You know, so
Yeah.
I'll figure it out. But yeah, to be honest, I'm struggling with it right now of trying to be there, because I'm just focused on what's next when I need to be here of just, all right, well, let's just do today and figure out how you get a dub for that, whatever that looks like.
Well, let me draw your attention to the T in being great, which is to trust. So we talked about trusting the higher power, but I want to make sure I circle back to, because I touched it a little bit, but our intuition. Trusting ourselves is really about following our intuition. And in my opinion, our intuition is our direct line to our higher power. You know, it's our local line to that higher power. And our intuition is that part of us that gives us higher order information that maybe doesn't make sense in our conscious reality, right? In the 3D. So learning how to really tap into your intuition, in my opinion, might be really key for you in this season of your life, to understanding, one, what's next? What am I going to do with now? Right? And how do I learn how to exist in this liminal space of waiting? Right? How to, like, so I don't know what's next, but then I'm right here. So it's like, okay, I'm listening, but I'm not getting any answers. So learning how to wait is a big part of that as well. But it's not just waiting, you know, without attention or intention. You know, you are consciously waiting for direction, for insight, for the nudge. And quite honestly, we get them all the time. We all get them all the time. Is that we talk ourselves out of what we know to be true because we're looking for evidence of it in the 3D. And for those of us who trust in a higher power, we have to remember and remind ourselves that it's not always going to be a linear experience. It's not going to be so self-evident right before us. Sometimes we have to lean into what we can't see yet, you know? So really allowing yourself to tap into your T, trusting yourself, trusting your intuition, tuning into your intuition, and trusting that all things are happening, not just for a reason, but a good reason, a value add reason that's in direct alignment with those deep-seated desires of your heart, whatever that is.
Yeah. Yeah, so true. So true. I don't want to make this show about me, and I want to have one last question for you and be mindful of your time. Everybody's been giving me the business because we've been on now for like an hour and 10 minutes or so.
Wait, can I say something real quick before you transition, Jeff? Is that I super appreciate your transparency. And in my opinion, I feel like if more of us took off the mask to say that we're not okay, then we can actually show up in our greatness. You know, that's what the A is about, is really being authentic, you know, saying when it hurts and when it doesn't feel good or what I don't know, you know, like that. Being authentic is not just being a badass in every space, right? That's part of it, but it's being willing to be vulnerable and speak your higher truth. And so I don't want it to go unnoticed. And I get what you're saying. You don't want to like make it about you, but I think that's super beautiful that you allowed it to be about you. And I think it will resonate with your audience because quite honestly, we are all going through the same stuff. You know, it just looks different. It has a different face or a different name on it, but the feelings are the same. So I really want to encourage you to not shy away from that, whether you use this platform or other platforms, but to really share your story and its truth and its authenticity, because it will resonate with people. You know, everybody's pretending. We're the real people.
I totally agree, and I appreciate you sharing that. And yeah, that's been the fun part for me of doing my C4 work. And again, C4 leaders, you're probably not aware, but when I was saying I make pizza, we're changing due to COVID. I said, you know what, I want to do things different. You know, I used to work with, and I'll still work with sports teams and doing more corporate stuff, but I'm not interested in doing that. C4 leaders now is making pizza to build community. And when we're out making pizza, We drop C4 on people. So we help, and all of us, it's all the stuff that I'm working on. We help each other learn how to listen with an empathetic ear. We help each other learn how to develop trust, to bring and receive value from the connections in your life. We help each other learn how to BTA, bust that ass, and then also learn and help each other consistently challenge their thoughts and perspectives to the point of vulnerability. And then we help each other share our gift. So any listeners, you're interested in doing those things and eating some amazing pizza, reach out to Jeff at c4leaders.org, because that's what we're doing. As soon as it is safe for everybody, you're going to see me rolling around in this beat up Toyota Tundra pizza truck with this beautiful pizza oven on the back of it.
Oh, wow.
And we're just going to break bread together. And there's so many cool metaphors and tie-ins to pizza and life, and which is why the title of this show is Life's Essential Ingredients. And this is a whole nother story, and I haven't even done. Maybe I need to sit here and talk to myself and have a show just to make sure people understand what the heck we're doing, because it's going to be cool. But I so appreciate you coaching me up today. And yeah, I go back to your challenge that you had with Lyle and how it was such an amazing full circle experience of which you're still in. But one of the things that I love to hear you say was asking for help. I love that you took time to grieve. I love that you went and watched the waves come in like you're watching TV, where you were just transfixed and what the heck is going on in my life. And I'm finally getting to that space of being able to share and be open like that, because everybody, we're all struggling with stuff, and which again is why we're trying to get out and help people realize that you're not the only one. And I think that's been the challenge with COVID, is we're losing that connection. And that's how we've evolved as a species, is that connection, that we are there. You are my sister. My Pasho is my brother. And if we can see each other in that way, all these other challenges that are going on, we can figure it out.
Yeah, together. Right.
And so the last question that I want to end, we end the show this way every time, but I just love it because it's deep. But it's a quote from John Alston. It's the only thing you take with you when you're gone is what you leave behind. So you're on your deathbed and you're surrounded by whoever you want to be surrounded by at that time. What is it that you want to feel, and what is it that you want those people that are in that space with you to take from you?
Powerful. And this is going to sound maybe a little weird, but I don't feel like I need to be on my deathbed to feel that. I literally am living each day as if I'm on my deathbed. You know, I feel like the legacy that I'm creating every day is what I want to be noticed, acknowledged, and appreciated. Like I'm actively living that moment every day. I live that moment. I live my life with that spirit of leave it out all on the court, you know, every day. You know, I do. I really do. So it's like, I can conceive myself. I can see a visual of me in that moment, but I feel like I could die any day having achieved that feeling, if that makes sense.
It's beautiful. Yeah. And that's the intent, to be honest, that's the intent with that question, is if we can, and you're doing what is very difficult to do, but if we can get into that space and realize that today is a gift, and let me leave it all on the court, to use your word. Wow. Yeah. Then that's why you're the guru. That's why you are being great every day. Oh man,
I'm not a guru, Jeff. I'm just a regular person that is figuring it out like everybody else. I've just figured out things that work. And I literally have made it my life's passion and mission to share it with other people. It's just that simple. And I actually oftentimes despise the word guru associated with me or anybody else, because we are our own expert. Like, that is literally what I teach my clients. I tell my clients day one, my job is to work myself out of a job. My job is to do my job so well that you don't need me, that you learn how to self-coach. You see? So I receive the love and respect that I know is inherent in that comment. But I really want everyone to know that you're your own level expert. I think it is important and helpful to work with other people to help bring that out when we can't get out of our own way. But never, ever, ever sign up to work with anybody in any capacity thinking they're going to know you better than you, because you've already set yourself up to fail.
That right there is crazy in itself. And I got to go back. You just lived the words of your quote. The woman who does not require validation from anyone is the most feared individual on the planet. You will find her at begreateveryday.com. That's Alami. Pasho, I know you want to say something. We're going to wrap this up. This was a great session for me personally. I can't thank you enough. My heart is full. My mind has been touched and has been changed, and you've given me a lot of things to think about. And so I really appreciate you just coaching me up today. And
Okay.
yeah, I wish I would have known you a little bit better before our paths didn't cross. But to listen to you, and I'm gonna give you some validation which you don't need. But even just with that guru comment, I'm not going to get into what I mean exactly by that. But for you to say, Jeff, you're smoking crack with the guru stuff, and here's what I feel.
That's your paraphrase.
Man, I'm just so in awe of that, of what you just said. I mean, it just goes back to your quote. And so I really thank you for role modeling and living and doing everything that you are doing to be great every day. Pasho is over there chomping. I see how he's leaning in like, God, Jeff, just be quiet. Pasho.
Yeah, we know you're not going to be quiet. That's not in your nature. But Alami, I just love the way I can tell, and I've known this guy for many years. I can tell how you touched him on a personal level and brought off his vulnerability, because he hasn't mentioned any of that on any of these shows. So it was great to see a coach coaching a coach. And I think you hit it right on the head. I coach basketball, but any coach, that's our goal, is to be able to not have to coach, because they got it. The team has it, the people have it. So I'm glad that that's the way you look at it. And that's absolutely amazing. And I thank you. And I look forward, hopefully, to one day getting the pizza truck, if it can make it. Maybe we got to ship it out there somewhere to Houston, get out there, eat some pizzas and shoot some baskets.
Let's do it.
Because this guy right here is like the best shooter I've ever seen. So I want to see you, All-American. We got to go at it. I just want to watch, because I can't shoot a lick anymore. Oh, she still got form.
It still works, guys.
She still got the form. So I look forward to hopefully having that experience one day. And thank you so much for being on the show.
No, thank you. I appreciate the love, Mike. Thank you so much.
Oh, man. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls from all over the world, this has been another episode of Life's Essential Ingredients with C4 Leaders. Reach out to me, Jeff, at c4leaders.org to break some bread together. Check us out, c4leaders.org. And thank you so much for tuning in. And thank you so much to our beautiful guest. That's a wrap. Pashito, what did I say last time? Boom. That just happened.